Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Phil Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and for today's episode of Suki Nihon, Animation is Art, for Area DMG, we are looking at Ace Attorney, Episode 13 of, well, essentially Season 1, Turnabout Promise. This episode is not attached to the games. This episode is not really based on the games. It's new content. Essentially, you know those little flashback sequences from the previous 12 episodes? You know how those were, there's a little bit of animation for that, like they would keep coming back to a couple sequences. Now imagine if some of those sequences of animation that they already showed us were actually part of a full episode. And they'd just been kind of showing us flashbacks to a future episode. Kind of like how the future episode was affecting the past episodes. Kind of similar to Virtue's Last Reward or Zero Time Dilemma, which you should totally buy if you like visual novels, like Phoenix Wright, and you can't get enough of bloodthirstiness, essentially, after Phoenix Wright's, the latest one, which I think was a rated M, oddly enough. If you can't get enough of that, check out Zero Escape. That's 999, Virtue's Last Reward, and Zero Time Dilemma. Fantastic. There's a little bits of glitches here and there on the 3DS, so if you have a Vita, you might want to definitely pick up 999 on the DS, because it isn't being ported to anything yet. I mean, it is being ported, but the ports and when they'll be available hasn't been announced yet. But Virtue's Last Reward and Zero Time Dilemma are on the 3DS and the Vita, and they're worth, well, if they're worth the money, I'll let you know in Game Worthy, which is a new series that we're going to be having. Anyways, let's get back to here. This is an episode that takes place in the past, and we have a young Phoenix, Larry, and Edgeworth, and a little dog that is totally Missile from Ghost Trick. I was sitting and looking at this, like, oh, it's Missile! It's Missile from Ghost Trick! And I loved Ghost Trick. It's a great game from Shu Takami, the person who's the guy behind Phoenix Wright and all that. So, yeah, I was just like, that's totally Missile. They don't name the dog, but you know it's Missile. And this has to do about what happened before the DL6 incident, and it has to do with the friendship of Phoenix and Larry and Edgeworth. There is a bit of reused footage that they've been reusing as flashbacks during the entirety, but this gives us new context of the how and the why that money was missing to begin with, which actually, spoiler alert, it fell out of Miles Edgeworth's bag, and then Missile, that's what I'm going to call the dog, finds it and brings it to Larry, who turns it into the police. Because that's what you actually do. He's a good kid. Anyways, after Edgeworth defends Wright in the classroom, Larry and Phoenix and Miles start becoming friends and bonding over a show, which I'm trying to remember the name of the show. It's like Signal Samurai or something like that. I would love to see a Steel Samurai show. I would actually watch that. And the Signal Samurai. I really like Sentai stuff. That's pretty good. So like, one of my things I'm looking forward to this year is that new Power Rangers film. I mean, Bryan Cranston as Zordon, okay. I know people are just like, oh, it's terrible. No, I'm actually all into this until I see a trailer. Is the trailer's terrible? I don't know. But I still kind of want to watch that. Yeah. Disclaimer, I know some of the people who are in the original Power Rangers. I never got to meet the girl that played Trini, because that's an entire tragedy on its own. And I have to say that I do stand with the Blue Ranger, and I feel that the way he was treated on set was terrible. And I do like the Pink Ranger. She's a nice person, and I've met her. And the Red Ranger and the Black Ranger and all that. Like, these people here, they're interesting. Johnny Young Bosch, I like him as a voice actor more than I like him as an actor. He's really good at acting his voice, and he did fantastic in in Avatar: The Last Airbender and in a lot of the stuff that he's in. So he's great, and his band is okay. But yeah, let's get back to what's happening here. We're talking about Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Turnabout Promise, episode 13 of season 1. Hopefully we'll get season 2. Anyways, I have to make a few notes about this. The little food trail that Edgeworth was leaving when they go and try and find the dog's owner, I was like, that's interesting. I hope they reuse it. And they do. And that's great. Looks like, well, this is kind of what I want to see. This is what I want to see in this series. I wanted to see more original content, and I got what I wanted, and it was great. We even got to see a tiny Francesca von Karma, and I'm like, that's great. She even has a tiny whip. And I'm looking forward to the rest of these. In fact, the next episode is Reunion and Turnabout First Trial, which means that they're skipping the Lost Turnabout, unless they're putting this in chronological order, which would mean that they're giving Maggie Bird, who's a good character, like, okay, if they leave out the Lost Turnabout, they're leaving out Maggie Bird, and she's important for the third game, like for Trials and Tribulations, and I would rather they not leave her out. But if they're going to put this after Reunion and Turnabout, where it's supposed to be, if they put that case there, that's good, because then it's in chronological order, and I like that. It's good. That's a short case too, so it could easily fit in between that. So we'll see what they do with that. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this, and I like how they set everything up. They set up when Miles Edgeworth leaves. They set up the reunion stuff between Phoenix and Maya that happens in the next episode. And they really went through and put together a good product. I was just watching this with just this big stupid grin on my face because I like these characters. I've always loved these games. And I like seeing new content with these characters that I like. Also, this part where we get to see them when they're younger is just fantastic. I really like the music. It was on point. There are hints of everyone's different themes. It just made more sense, and it fleshed out the characters in a way that you can either get from hours of gameplay in the video game, but you don't always get in an animated series like this that's an adaptation. And it goes to show that when they're they're unleashed from the binds of the game, this team makes good content. And I liked it. I really did. And you should check it out on Crunchyroll. You can even check it out for free on Crunchyroll. And let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. I love this series, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I'm looking forward to them giving a lot of these cases the time and effort that they need. Especially because all the cases in Justice for All are crazy and fun. So we'll see. I liked it. The little bit at the end though, where Miles Edgeworth puts out a little note and he's like, "I choose death." That's a bit dramatic. But unfortunately for me, the back of my mind was like, the twist on this is that death is what he named his Pikachu. Yes, a Pikachu named Death. Anywho, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this episode. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this with people who haven't, if you haven't yet. Let people know about this. So pretty much just like and subscribe. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.